Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the third episode of the Shanks Unleashed podcast. I am Andy Stowe. He is Eddie from Ackworth, and the star of our show and the star of the Bill Shanks Show, which you can stream weekdays from 3 to 7 on the superstations.com. The one and only Bill Shanks. Bill, how's things going down in Middle Georgia tonight?
Doing good, Andy. Eddie, how are y'all?
Good. I'm doing well. I haven't talked to you guys really since, I guess, before Thanksgiving, so I hope y'all had a good respite holiday with your family. And Bill, I heard you had some crappy food, but good times with your family, and so that was amusing to me.
Yeah, I had some bad dressing, which really stinks.
Well, I do not like dressing. I don't even eat dressing. I know
you're un-American. Are you with Hamas?
I could be a communist.
What is wrong? You don't like dressing? Oh my God,
like
Eddie! Please tell me you do. I know.
I do, but I'm particular about it. It's got to be good, Bill. I mean, like you said, if it's obviously right, it's got to be good. But yes, I'm not a communist. I'll put it that way.
You're from New Orleans. You probably have oysters in yours.
Oh God.
No, we eat up here, Bill. We don't go to New Orleans though.
Okay,
but
yeah.
Yes, my mom apparently makes the best dressing ever. I've had it. I don't like it because I don't like dressing. But yes, everybody loves my mom's dressing. So I tell you what, I will get her to make you some dressing, and I will get it to you. So I will.
That makes zero sense to me.
That makes zero sense.
It's your mom too. On top of it, come on.
Hey, I eat most of the stuff she cooks, but I don't like dressing. It's the stuff that's in like mushrooms. I think mushrooms are in it. I don't like the crap.
Well, that's the problem because mushrooms are supposed to be in your yard, not no daggum dressing.
Okay, maybe they're not into dressing. I can't remember what all's in it. I just know I don't like the crap.
No. Yeah, okay, yeah. No, I'm going to have some good dressing from the steakhouse restaurant in Hawkinsville for Christmas. I've already been promised that. Okay. By the way, I think 3 weeks from tonight, I'm going to be in the steakhouse restaurant in Hawkinsville, and supposedly I'm going to be there with Santa. I don't know who's going to be fatter after I go through the buffet line there, but it's going to be me and Santa at the steakhouse restaurant in Hawkinsville. So God help us all. But I hope I don't scare small children from Pulaski County. But yeah, so we're going to have that and really enjoy that. But don't like dressing. I mean, first of all, my problem with the dressing this year was it was made from regular bread. You have to have cornbread dressing.
Yes. Yeah. Tell my mom she does cornbread.
Okay, because regular bread is like mush. And
that's true.
Gross. I mean, for me to to take the pan and open the lid of the trash can and to dump it in it had to be bad dressing. And I had but anyway, so yes, other than crappy dressing that tasted like shit on a stick, everything was fine.
And I would assume the person who brought it to you is again not listening to this show, right?
No, they're not.
Okay, good. Just clarifying.
Yeah. Okay, so do you do turkey or ham, or do you do turkey and ham?
I do ham. I don't like turkey.
Oh my God! That's where I think you're an idiot.
You're the communist. I'm not a communist.
Yeah.
Y'all both like turkey?
Now wait. Let me preface this by saying my mother-in-law smokes turkey, and she does it to perfection.
Okay.
If you dry it out, Bill, turkey's horrible. Oh. But she does it perfectly, and it's juicy and it's tremendous, and it's even better the next day on a sandwich. Oh my God, that's the best.
Yeah, no, turkey has taste, but if it's dried out,
no, it's terrible.
Like I don't know, Joan Rivers coochie, then you're in trouble.
The woman is dead, Bill. She's dead.
Well, she was the one that used to talk about it, so I thought
that's true. That's true.
Hey. I don't know where to go from there.
Unleashed. You wanted me unleashed.
Yeah, I know.
There we go.
You wanted me unleashed.
This is what we pay for, is for the unleashed Bill Shakes. So.
Well, hey, before we get started, I got to tell you guys this, because I was sitting just killing some time before the show got started, watching the pre-NFL, whatever you call it, on Amazon. And I learned two things. The first of which is you can go 4-8 and be named sports person of the year. I'm talking about one Deion Sanders, 4-8, and they're over there drooling all over this man on the pregame. The second thing, guys, Von Miller attacked, I think, his girlfriend, whatever. I'm not dismissing or trying to belittle any of this. That's awful. But he attacked a pregnant person, and I don't know what the hell that is. That's what they said on the broadcast. I don't know what that is.
First of all, it better be a pregnant woman.
No, they said person, Bill. Pregnant person, because I listened very specifically. That's what they said.
Okay. But anyway, that's sickening. But I had on my rundown today, Sports Illustrated named Deion Sanders its sports person of the year. They were 4-8, and because I was, on the show with Auburn Breath, Christopher Hefner, I couldn't get to it.
I don't know how you do that.
I was shocked as well about that. It's like, first of all, sports person of the year. What the hell? Number 2, 4-8. What the hell did he do? What did he do? I mean,
Alex Page says he brought in revenue, in which that is true. Well, I'll give him that. He did get some eyes out there,
okay,
but
sure. But then he turned around and choked at the end like that and went 4-8 overall. It's like there's no reason he should be your sports man of the year. The man's got a pecker. He's a man. It's not a.
No, correct. You're right.
I have no desire to do this. It's like he is a man with a penis, as far as I know. Now, I kind of wondered about it a little bit when he came into Georgia Dome and said, "This is my house." I kind of didn't call him a man that day. I called him something else. But anyway, you got to be kidding me. It's absolutely ridiculous. Throw him under the bus for this Thursday. Unbelievable. And, to be woke and have to do that sports person of the year bullshit is embarrassing. You're either a man or a woman, and you're not leaving your Sports Illustrated, which is a joke, by the way. The damn magazine is a joke. You're not leaving it in a hybrid bathroom for transvestites to watch and read.
Well, my question to that also is, why not Jimbo Fisher? I mean, why isn't he coach of the year?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, why not? Exactly. Hey,
he should be, because he makes $77 million to get
exactly.
fired.
That's
He's
my
the smartest
point.
guy alive. That guy.
That's right.
Sam Pittman was 4-8. How about him?
Yeah, really.
Doesn't he have a chance to be 4-8? Or
he's got Bobby Petrino. So.
Yeah, that's a joke too.
I knew you'd like that intro, Bill. That's why I did that.
Oh, I just did not get to it today because we had calls and we were talking about the game.
Sure.
We're just going to whip Alabama's ass. But I mean,
That's right.
It was. I saw it and I just couldn't believe it. It's like, you got to be kidding me. They've had great people on the cover. I've got them around here somewhere. You're going to unbelievable. Yeah,
it's crazy what it's just.
And one more thing on this. I called this, you will recall, Andy, Paul even said this, that I did not think this would work when he went to Colorado. I think what he's been doing, basically, I think he's a fraud, basically. The way he's been doing this, he could never, ever, ever have done what he did at Colorado 5 years ago when college football did not have all this transfer crap. Okay, he could never, ever have won 4 games at Colorado after what they did last year. So he took advantage, and I'm not knocking him for that, but that's the way the system is. And 2, I promise you, Colorado will be worse next year, and he will not be there at the end of next year. Promise you.
Well, he walks in and he tells everybody to get in the transfer portal.
Right. I know. It's ridiculous.
I mean, I know we've had things that have showed us that, again, the quote term college athletics is bullshit. But for that to happen and for that college to allow him to do that, I'm not saying that players aren't run off, but when your new coach walks in and pretty much tells everybody to leave.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't even. Can you imagine your son being a resident of Colorado Springs? They always wanted to go to the University of Colorado to play football. They go there, and then some dumbass from, the NFL who thinks his shit doesn't stink walk in and says, "Get in the portal."
Yep.
I mean, I would have sued them. It's like, I'm suing you because you wanted my, and I'm sure they'd say, well, it's 1 year scholarship and all this bullshit. But it's like, that was a horrible thing to do. It was an awful thing to do. And, karma's a bitch sometimes. And 4-8, all the attention and all him calling out Ed Werder and calling out all these reporters and trying to be.
We coming.
We coming for what? 4-8? And
what?
Unbelievable, unbelievable. And yeah, he's a fraud to me. I have no real interest in him.
Yeah, and a lot of people want him to be the Falcons head coach.
Oh my God, we're gonna go from chicken shit to turkey shit.
But wouldn't that be perfect? Wouldn't that be perfect?
I mean, give me a break. It was awful.
Let's don't go down that road now. Let's go into the Dawgs. Let's go.
Okay, let's do that. Well, first we want to thank everybody that's watching us and hope you enjoyed the Deion talk, primetime coach. But yeah, we want to thank you all for watching us. If you like the Deion talk, like it and share it for us. If you don't mind, subscribe to our channel, because that way you get more Bill Shanks Unfiltered. So he is unleashed tonight, as you can tell. So let's talk about these Dawgs, Bill, because they just went. Since we were off last week, we didn't get to talk about it. They have went undefeated for 3 straight regular seasons, 12-0 for 3 straight years. And I was listening to the Jeff Densler show today on the superstations.com, and JD said this is the first team that's ever went 12-0 3 straight years.
Wow.
So that is as impressive of a feat as I think you could do. Plus, we're coming off of back-to-back national championships. Now we are going to play for our second straight SEC championship up against the Alabama Crimson Tide. Given last week versus Georgia Tech, we didn't look great, but I think a lot of that was, probably trying to just play it close and not, just trying to get out of there without as few as injuries as possible. But this weekend, I think, is one of, if not the biggest games in the Kirby Smart era. We beat them 2 years ago in the national championship, and they keep saying, yeah, but if it wasn't for Williams getting hurt, if it wasn't for Mechie getting hurt. So am I overstating that? Am I understating it? Am I wrong that this is one of the biggest games ever?
Well, it's hard to believe that a team that's won 2 straight national championships has to win one game to try to prove something to people. But I think it's true. I had Brett Beard on my show today. God bless him, and I love him. But, he was still pushing back on the advantages Georgia has and saying, well, Alabama's done this. Alabama's done that. And, okay, look, everybody should take up for their school. The 3 of us are going to take up for Georgia because we watch them all the time. We bleed red and black. That's the way it is. I do try, like when I make my notes, and Eddie's seen my notes before. I've sent them to him in the past. I do try to take an objective look and look at things that I can bring out on my show that are good talking points for why Georgia may not win or why they may have trouble. I mean, there's talking points, things I can turn to and say, okay, well, what about this? And like today, me and Chris Hefner had a really good conversation about some things that, we were talking about. Well, what will they try to do? What do they have to do to stop Georgia? What does Georgia do? Those kind of things. And when I did my notes on Sunday night and I saw the statistical advantages for Georgia when it came to a lot of simple stats, if you will, but it's like, wow, they have a better defense. Their offense has been better. They have protected their quarterback better. The only thing they haven't done better than Alabama is sack people. And then you look at the depth. Now, I don't know the Alabama roster inside and out like I know Georgia's pretty well, but I don't see the depth that they have. I don't see them running 3 and 4 people in on offensive line, defensive line like Georgia is in and out, the rotation stuff. Maybe they do. I just don't. I think Georgia has a clear advantage in this game. And, the injuries obviously are a question mark. Will Brock Bowers play? I think he will. That sounds like a game time decision. Doesn't sound like Ra Thomas is going to be able to play. I think Tate Ratledge is going to play because I was in the field last week before the game. And I took a picture of Tate Ratledge right there in front of me because I like to watch the linemen, and he was there. Bowers was there. And then I get up the press box and he's not playing. So, but how many times this year have we had somebody out and it not seem to matter? Even if Georgia were to lose on Saturday night, are we really going to say, well, if they'd had Ra Thomas, they may have been okay?
Yeah, he's not that. I mean, even we've had Brock Bowers miss games, and so that's no shot at Ra. He's not Brock Bowers.
No, and so, but okay, if Brock Bowers is out and the offense scored 13 points, oh wow, they really missed fucking Brock Bowers. That was a big problem, right? But Ra Thomas can be replaced by Arian Smith or by Dylan Bell, or they can go down the line. Marcus Hornsby-Jackson, caught 1 pass last Saturday? If that, I think he's caught 2 passes in 2 weeks.
1 target last week, but no catches, right?
Yeah, I think so. And so I just think I think Georgia's the better team. That doesn't always mean you're going to win, but I don't see this team taking a step back. And I think last week's performance has nothing to do with what they'll do this week. That's like saying, well, they didn't play very well against Ball State, so they're going to wet the bed against South
Right.
Bullshit. That's just bullshit.
Well, here's the thing for me about Georgia versus Alabama this weekend. So I know you're not supposed to take one game, which I'm going to go back to last weekend and compare the Tech Georgia and the Bama Auburn game. I know that has nothing to do with this Saturday. But watching this Georgia team throughout this year, they have grown up every game. Okay, they have been tested. Remember, starting with Florida, oh my God, this 4-game gauntlet. They're going to lose one, maybe two of these games. And they destroyed that gauntlet. Okay, but going back to last weekend, and even before that for Georgia, Georgia has been in control of every one of those games. There was never a point where you looked at this and you're like, oh my God, Georgia may lose this football game. I never once thought that. Never once during the Tech game. It was not a pretty game, but we were in total control of that game. That was week 12. Alabama was in trouble until a miracle play on the road with a shitty team. They were going to lose that football game.
They should have lost that game.
They should have, 100%. That's the difference to me, is we were in control all of those games down the stretch. Bama was in trouble. They were on the ropes, and Bama is tons better than Auburn, or should be at this point in the season, right? That's the difference to me.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think you're right. And, you know, you can get bogged down in comparing opponents, right? And you can say, you know, people could bring up the Auburn game. Well, you were tied with them at halftime. Oh, South Carolina gave you trouble. There's not one time this year, like to piggyback on what you said, Eddie, there's not one time this year where I thought, God, Georgia might not win this game. I'll be honest with you. There's not one time the last 2 years I thought. It's like last year with Missouri. People were panicking about Missouri. I really didn't think, and God bless Missouri, and they were even better last year. They were this year. They were pretty damn good this year. I did not think Missouri was going to win that football game. And I've said it all year long about the 60 minutes thing, to where it's a mantra for me. But it's like, okay, Auburn, you're going to beat Alabama. You didn't do it for 60 minutes, Auburn. You almost did it, but you didn't do it for 60 minutes. Tennessee, they're up 20-7 on Alabama at halftime, 30 minutes. That's not 60 minutes. That's why Tech scored the other night. Well, hell, we were almost used to it and expecting it by now. But there's no panic on that sideline. There's no, oh, shit, we're in trouble on that sideline. Now, you know what? They get in the third quarter and it's, 24-13 Alabama, then we're going to see a different situation here. But, I mean, I think that they have been fine all year long. We weren't in control.
That's true. But that was week 2. What was that? Week 2, week 3?
Week 3.
Okay, week 3. I'm talking about since then. This team, and that's why I keep saying this was the perfect schedule for this football team. If we had this team play the schedule last year, we don't beat Oregon, I don't think, coming out of the gate. Maybe we do. I don't know. Maybe it's certainly not the blowout it was.
Right.
But I think this schedule set up perfectly for this team to find itself, grow up, weather some storms with some injuries, get healthy. And like I said, I keep going back to that 4-game gauntlet that everybody was freaking out about. And I think we came out okay on that. Did we not?
Yes.
Yeah.
Dominant. Okay, we weren't in control of the South Carolina game. But I wasn't worried about that.
Right.
I mean, I still wasn't worried about, oh God, are they doing in 2019 and went to bed against South Carolina? I just didn't feel that. I feel complete confidence in this team. My feeling that, for example, Alabama, there's no question Alabama's good, and I need a balance of not making people think I'm not respecting Alabama by feeling that I'm confident in Georgia. I feel Georgia's going to win by 10 points or more on Saturday. I'm that confident as much in Georgia than what Alabama is. I don't give a damn who they're playing. I think Georgia is that good, and it's my confidence in that team. So can the Dawgs control the Alabama run game? Well, that's a good question.
They're going to be down a big starter, it sounds like to me.
And to me,
that's huge.
But if Jace McClellan is out, then I think what's interesting is everything's going to fall on Jalen Milroe's shoulders. Yeah. And if Georgia has to key in on him and say, okay, Jalen Milroe, you're going to beat us. And people are talking about, the downfield passing. I don't give a damn about Jermaine Burton and Isaiah Bond running against our secondary. I'm fine with that. Bring them on. It's not Michie and Williams, and they ain't got Derrick Henry in the backfield, and I like our talent on defense better. Could we have some – look, we had Peyton Thorne run for that big run against us in the Auburn game. We had Jalen Wright, and who it was against Tennessee, run that 75-yard first play from scrimmage.
Yeah,
the other
Jalen
day,
Wright,
obviously, Georgia Tech ran some right up the middle on us. I get it. But, and Chris and I were talking about this today. Auburn ran all over Alabama the other day, all over Alabama. So on offense, if we have to go and hand the ball to Kendall Milton, who looks like freaking Herschel Walker all of a sudden, and Dejon Edwards or Dylan Bell, fine. And I think I feel good about this team. I really do. I love it.
I do too. Kendall Milton had 14, or I'm sorry, Eddie. But
go ahead, Andy.
Last week, Kendall Milton had 18 carries for 156 yards. He averaged 8.7 a touch, and he had 2 touchdowns. And then you had Dejon Edwards had 13 carries for 55 yards, 4.2 and a touchdown. Kendall Milton looks like the guy that he was supposed to be. He looks like the injuries are gone. And the thing I was really, I guess I was down on him because I thought he was trying to be more of a shifty back where he needs to be downhill and go. And he looks like he's running mad. He's running people over.
He's running angry. He's angry.
Yes. Yeah. If it becomes a run for run game, I'll take the Dogs any day of the week.
And then I'll equate this also to the Jace McClellan thing being if he's out, and it sounds like he's not going to play. And I see a lot of Alabama people talking up Roydell Williams, and I'm sorry, I don't remember the other guy's name. Bill, you remember his name?
Justice Haynes is one.
Yeah, Justice Haynes is one, but there's another one in there. So I equate that with Dejon's out, Kendall Milton's out. We're going to go with Andrew Paul and Cash Jones on Saturday. That's basically the equivalent of what they're talking about right now because you have no idea what you're getting. Roydell may be okay. Justice Haynes? Are you kidding me? I mean, you know what's going to happen? He's going to get popped and he's going to fumble. That's what's going to happen.
Well, Kendall Milton, take the last 3 games. He's had 41 carries for 349 yards. That's 8.5 yards per carry in the last 3 games against Mississippi, Tennessee, and Georgia Tech. And I love that. To me, that makes this offense totally different. Totally different. The last 3 games, he had 99 games in the previous 2 games against Missouri and Florida for 22 carries. And you go back, he never had double-digit carries before that because he was not healthy 100%. Now, if 18 carries is him being healthy, and he ran for 156,
right?
Okay, so it's Alabama, not Georgia Tech. All right, 18 carries for freaking 100 yards.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's still over 5 a touch. Yeah.
But Auburn ran. You're telling me Jarquez Hunter is better than Kendall Milton? I don't believe that. And they ran for 242 yards, I believe, against Alabama the other day. So, I just everywhere I turn, I feel good about it. Could they pick on Dalen Everett? Okay, maybe, but I still think the secondary has enough to compensate, especially with Tyke Smith being all over the place. He's been awesome the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, he's fast. I think he was just so hurt when he got here and he just couldn't get going. But he looks the best he's looked since he's been here. He looks like an NFL player.
Yeah, he does.
He does. Andy's not saying I was worried, but can't play with fire versus Alabama and be down 14-3 at the half. No question. There's no question about that. You can't be. They got to come out strong. They got to do what they did against Kentucky, right? Yep. Come out and play with their head on fire. I kind of wish they would take the ball if they won the toss, but we know he's not going to do that.
He's not going to do it.
And that's fine because I get it. If you get the ball right before half and you come out.
Double score.
Yeah, you can double score, and I get that, and I understand that. But I kind of like jumping on people a little bit if you can. But I don't know. Maybe I'm going to be terribly disappointed, but I just feel good about the matchup. I don't think they're as good as Georgia is.
No.
Right.
And somebody said today, I may have been Ken from Macon, who once in a blue moon comes out, through the medication and brings up a good point. And they said every time they play crappy, they come back out and they play like their hair's on fire.
Yeah.
He's kind of right.
He is. But like the games that we've oh man, they didn't look so good. The next week they come out look dominant. So
right.
And that's what I think. And the thing is, last week it was Dominic Lovett that stepped up big.
Yeah.
The week before it was Dylan Bell that stepped up big. I mean, each week. And Marcus Rosemary-Jack Sink the week before against Tennessee, he had 7 catches, 91 yards.
What do you have, Andy? Against Tech, he had one target? Isn't that what you said?
1 target, no catch.
Right. So I think he goes nuts this weekend.
You
watch out for one. That's my boy. I love that guy. I think he goes crazy.
Rosemary-Jack Sink.
Oh, I love Rosemary-Jack Sink.
I do too. But here, think about this. And I know last week on my show on Friday, Dash and I talked about Lovett because he said he was writing an article about it. And I said, I just feel like at some point Dominic Lovett's going to go off going to just have one of those, 9 catches for 158 or something like that. And so he came out, like you said, Andy, and he had a really good game against Tech, 5 catches for 68.
Yeah.
He has not gone off, though. He had 9 catches against Vanderbilt for 72 yards. That's the most catches he's had in the game. But I mean, think about how many people, if let's say Ladd can't go,
right,
and if they have to turn to someone else, just count it. Bowers, of course, love it. Roseby Jack Saint,
Dylan Bell.
Delp. If they have to go with 2 tight ends, if they feel like, we're having a disadvantage with the secondary, but let's take advantage of the linebackers for Alabama. Let's put 2 tight ends in. Delp's been great.
Yeah, he really has. It's been money.
He's going to be really good next year when Brock's gone, and then throwing the ball. I mean, I love our depth. I love this team. I love, it's just, I love this team. I love this team more than the last 2 years. Last 2 years, like, oh, damn, we're good. And this year, it's like, wow, watch us be good.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they're fun. They're fun to watch.
Bill, I thought one of the most fascinating things I heard on your show this week was when you talked to Brent Rollins, who's one of the best, by the way. If you're not following him on Twitter, please follow him. Brent Rollins, PhD, I think is what it is. Yeah. He analyzes the Georgia games. And he brought up what our boy on CBS Network, the announcer always talks about, or he talked about how they took away the read game from Jalen Milroe. In other words, it was hand the ball off or pass the ball. He's not doing any read options at this point. Okay? And if that continues, because I think they changed the offense to mirror that for him, because he's not good at it. He can't do it. And we watch Haynes King torch us because he can do it. He can do that read option. And you have to account for that as you're going through your progressions. If he's not doing that, Bill, and they can just key in on the running back or key in on Jalen Milroe, I think they're in real trouble.
I do too. I agree. I agree. And think about C.J. Allen. Think about those linebackers that can create havoc. Think about Jalen Walker. Think about the guys who can. It's like, all right. I know last week they had trouble with some of the Tech runs and everything, but I still think, I don't know. I think our defense will be fine this week. I don't, because especially if McClellan's out, and hey, maybe Justice Haynes comes in and runs 7 times for 90 yards. I don't know. I mean, I know he's a great young prospect.
Yeah.
They haven't done this year.
They haven't done anything
this year, and it's like, all right, this is going to be the best defense they played against. We're better than Texas. We're going to be the best defense they played against, and we can pretty much focus on Jalen Milroe. I mean, you could say, well, what are you going to do? Make Carson Beck beat you, or make one of the running backs beat you? Well, with Jalen Milroe, you can say we're going to let him beat us. He ain't going to beat us. We're going to focus on him. And I just think, and Chris Hefner said this today. It's like Kirby loves these kind of challenges to try to say, all right, what am I going to do against this kid? It's like, oh, you're facing the Derrick Henry at Alabama. How are we going to stop him? Well, how are we stopping Milroe? What are we going to do? And I just think he's going to have a plan. I think it's about what you were saying, Eddie. But I think those linebackers are going to be real focused on him. And I like our linebackers. I think our linebackers really do some damage against him. So to me, the linebackers are kind of the answer here. And look, if they have to bring Malachi Starks up, and see, okay, he wants to throw the ball downfield. All right, that's fine. We'll take Malachi Starks and bring him up a little bit and take our chances with the guys downfield again because of Tyke. Tyke Smith is, man, he's a machine right now out there on
He is
really good. So
you got Javon Bullard back there just laying people out. That dude is so good.
But the one thing I'm curious about is the and I'm not worried about it. I know the answer to this is kind of rhetorical, but it's going to happen when Milroe drops back and it's a 3rd and 5 and it's a crucial part in the game and he rips off 45, right? It's going to happen. And we're going to be sitting here as fans going, oh my God, how does the defense react to that? They got to step up on the neck and make a play coming up. And it's going to happen multiple times. It's not just going to happen once. That's the one thing. How do they react to that?
Well, first of all, don't panic.
Right.
You didn't panic when Tennessee ran for 75 yards first play from scrimmage, and you don't need to panic because they're going to get some yards. I mean,
Yep.
okay, if they get 350, they're going to put some points on the board. We know that. We're not going to shut them down per se, but I don't see it. I don't see them. If they don't have a big tight end that can do damage for Georgia,
Right.
there's got to be multiple threats against this Georgia offense. There's got to be, I was watching Ohio State last week and even Michigan. It's like their running backs are really good, both of their team. But I know Ohio State's got Harrison, but it's like, all right, I keep on trying to find someone who could do damage against Georgia. Who could really give them hell. And then I watch McNamara, JJ, and I'm like, Georgia would absolutely
whip
eat him
their
alive
ass. Yeah.
with that supposed great offensive line. I think he's so damn slow. They would eat him alive.
They are going to kill. If they play Michigan, they are going to beat that team to death. That team is not going to do anything.
I'll say this right now. If Georgia passes this test on Saturday, which I think they do, they will walk into their third national championship. They will not be tested in the playoffs or the national championship. This is it right here. This is their challenge.
Well, I hope they don't. I'm not disagreeing with you, Eddie. I hope they don't feel that way because Kirby doesn't want them to feel that way.
I don't think they feel that way. I feel that way.
Yeah, no, I know.
That's how you get clipped. But yeah, I agree. I mean, but now what is interesting? They had I think Bill, you mentioned it today on your show that they had the lines out for like hypothetical games, and the closest game was Georgia versus Oregon, and Georgia was just a 1-point favorite in that game. That was the closest one. Wow. And I think the biggest, or I think Georgia was like a 10-point favorite over. Yeah, it was some big score over Michigan.
15 over Florida State or something like that, I think.
Yeah, and 10 at Michigan, and I think over Bama, of course, 6. But
to that, I'll say real quick, everybody's just saying Oregon's going to beat Washington. Hey, Washington has been doing some things this year. They're getting it done. Everybody's just discounting that Oregon's going to win that game. Watch out for Washington. I'm telling you right now.
Washington is hearing everybody in the country say that Oregon is going to beat them.
Right.
That game. I said Oregon would win, but I don't know, man. I'm starting to think that Washington is going to win that game. I think when you hear it all week. That's all you're hearing about.
Exactly.
You're going to lose. So.
You're right. No, you're right. And I think if I had to bet, I would think Oregon's going to win, mainly because it's hard for a team to beat someone twice in 1 year. We found that out, 2 years ago when we beat Alabama after they beat us. We found that out when we beat Auburn after they beat us. Right. So, I could subscribe to that theory, but Michael Penix is pretty good.
He's good. He's real good.
And they got a good defense. Washington's got a good defense.
Yeah. I'm anxious. I can't wait to watch that game tomorrow night. That's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. Before we move on, I did want to say I posted the StreamYard link. If anyone wants to hop on and chat and ask Bill some questions, you can just click on that link and you can join up and you can come in and chat with him. But before we do move from the Georgia Bulldogs, I know you'll give your predictions tomorrow, and Eddie, I don't know if you'll call in to Bill's show and give your prediction. But
if he'll let me on the air, I don't know.
Not sure.
Yeah, questionable. I think Georgia is going to win. I think they're going to score first. I think they're going to score last, and I think they're going to win 41-27. I think they are going to dominate this game.
Wow. Yes.
I'm talking about Tate Ratledge earlier. I saw him today. If he's injured, I must be injured because he's walking and looking better than I could possibly ever walk and look. He looks great.
No way. I mean, I was right down there. I'm telling you. I was right down there, and there was no way that kid was injured. He was right there on the sideline. They were holding him out. There's no question about that. They were. I mean, I don't know if y'all can. Is it too bright?
It's too bright. Yeah.
I mean, it's Tate Ratledge right in the foreground, watching them. But I mean, he was fine. He was fine. I really believe that. So I'm with you, Andy. I think he's playing, and I think Brock will play. And we gotta hope Ladd can play. There's no question Ladd would be a huge boost for this team just to see him out there because they love Ladd like they do Brock, and he's a great talent, and he's
so good. He's
so good. I know he's so fun to watch it, and he's just
he's sneaky good. That's why he's good.
Yeah. It's like you watch him, and it's like, holy crap, look at that kid play, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so he's
So what is Ladd's issue? I'm sorry. Is it an ankle or is it his back again? Okay, so it's the ankle from when he made that
Tennessee
made the catch in the end zone against Tennessee, and he kind of was that what it was?
I'm pretty sure that's what.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
So
it's
yeah,
lower.
that's
It's lower. It's not a high ankle sprain. It's lower.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So it's not like where they have that surgery or anything.
Right.
Yeah, there were reports, I guess, that Monday after the Tennessee game that he was going to get, he was going to have that tightrope surgery, but the Kirby was like, no, we don't need that. Like, he's not that. So yeah, so I think it's just a lower thing, and I think it's probably a precautionary thing. But you know, I haven't seen him walking around, but like I saw Tate Ratledge today, that guy looked fine. So I think he's going to go. So
well, and even if he doesn't, I still think they're okay. You know.
Yeah, I know.
But I just you know, because they were talking the other day about how Mims comes back and look at Mims, and then, you know, Ernest Green played better after having a couple of shaky games, you know, and then they're just loaded. They're loaded everywhere. They've got a lot of talent, and it's like, I know that Dallas Turner is probably the best defensive end rush, you know, sack man, disruptor is what I was looking for, that they played all year long. But I mean, they have not let that boy's jersey get dark one time.
Yeah.
He's been clean all year long. I joked today, it's like he ain't even washed that jersey since the first game of the year.
Yeah.
It's that clean. It's like 10 sacks in 12 games is incredible.
Well, he is sneaky fast too. Like he's quick in the pocket, but last week when he took off versus Tech, like he was moving. Like he is actually fast, not just, I don't know. He is playing some great football.
The quick release, Andy, to go along with that.
Yeah.
That was another thing, Eddie, that Brent talked about on Wednesday, was the unbelievably quick release, like one of the best in the country at getting rid of that ball. So you've already got time to throw. You've got time to throw. You're not being rushed, but yet you've got a quick release. So that is an unbelievably dangerous combo of talent to be able to have at your disposal. And I love that. I love that ability for him to do that and to have those kind of, I mean, it's, you know, it's really, really cool.
Well, one more thing on the importance of this game. So I went back and it made me vomit all over again. But they did a thing with the Eagles back in August, and they focused in on Nakobe and Jordan and Jalen and Keeley and all those guys from Georgia, and they did a little show with them together. It was so cool. But this really stood out to me, was they were talking about their accomplishments in Georgia, and Nakobe said he listed a bunch of things he wanted to do at Georgia. And the one thing that he didn't have was he didn't graduate and he didn't have an SEC championship. And Keeley said, well, you can get one of those. And he said, yeah, I'm going to graduate, no doubt. But that right there, when I heard that, and Jalen's kind of laughing over to the side, you could see it because he has one, right? This is so important to them to win this SEC championship. And it's doubly important because it's against the enemy.
Yep. And that's what Kirby has been pounding that. He was on the on the PA system this week. Like we heard him yesterday. He was saying, this is for an SEC championship. I mean, he's yelling and cussing, but he is making sure they know that this SEC championship is as important as that national championship. They're
and this is probably the last time it's this important, right? Because next year I mean, it means something, but you know what I'm getting at.
No, you're right. No, you're 100% right.
Yeah.
And because shoot, if we were to lose this game, if this was next year and we lost this game, we would be having a home game in Athens. So, which I know, Bill, you've been saying you don't want them to lose, but that would be cool. That would be.
Really cool. Look, I cannot wait for when we lose the SEC championship game and we host, you know, a big time ranked number 11 or 12th ranked team in Athens. That gives me chills to think about it.
It would be awesome.
Can you imagine Athens and a playoff game?
35 degrees in Athens with playoff. Oh man. Yeah.
You know, and no, I mean, look, I look at winning the conference like I do with the Braves winning the division. The Braves, you know, they always want to win the division. They do. And I think Kirby Smart always wants to win the conference. I really believe that. And I just think you've got to have a goal like that to really believe that it's important, you know. And I think Kirby stresses that to these players. So I love that. I love that. But yeah, at some point they're going to lose the SEC championship game again, and they're going to host a game in Athens. It's going to be freaking awesome.
Yeah.
You know, and we're not going to be too sad about it. Yeah.
No. But I'm glad to hear about what Kirby's been screaming at the players.
Oh yeah,
this
he
week
is pounding that on them this week.
And here's the other thing though too. It's like you got a winning streak that's kind of historic.
Yeah.
And you want to kick that damn can down the road as long as you can, and I've compared it to a hitting streak. I remember, Eddie may remember this because he's older than I am, but when Pete Rose had his 44-game hitting streak, and the Braves stopped it, that damn thing was national news. It was unbelievable of how much they were going in the middle of the prime time schedule on network TV to go have Pete Rose's at bats because of how big it was. And of course he wanted to keep it going. And it's like a winning streak. Why wouldn't you want to keep it going? And Kirby knows it's going to happen sometime, but you know what? You kick it down the road. Let's do it next year. And I've always said too, look, Kirby knows what's going to change next year. We have no clue a year from now on November 30th, 2024, what we're going to feel like, what's going to happen, how it's going to be, how a week off is going to be, good or bad, kind of like the Braves crap, when they had a week off. We don't know because it's going to be brand new. So you know what? You got to push all those chips in the table for this year and do everything you can to win right now, so that everybody's saying, well, the last 3 years of that 4-game playoff thing, Georgia won it all.
Yep. And Kirby knows what's at stake. That's the thing.
Absolutely, man. You got to do that.
Well, Bill, I don't know if you know Chris Taylor, but he listens to a lot of the UGA Sports podcast. He's always on there. He's a great dog. So, Chris,
Bill,
I don't know if you know. Yeah.
Hey, Chris, how are you?
Doing well. How about you?
Good.
Enjoy what you guys are doing here, and just want to jump in and say hello. Say hello to you, Eddie, and
thank you, Chris.
I missed the very first few minutes of this, but I tell you, one of the things that I've been getting a kick out of is the battle between the two fan bases to compete for who's the underdog, or who's getting slighted the most. That's cracking me up, because everybody's wanting to trigger their trigger the inner kind of pep talk that that they're going to use to get motivated and all that stuff. And it's just kind of funny to see how.
Well, I don't think there's any question this year Alabama's the underdog. That's the way it is,
But I keep seeing Georgia people try to steal some, like, well, nobody's everybody's picking Bama to win, even though Vegas is not.
Right.
Rick Newhousel said that the Church of Saban would be back, and he said they're going to win.
So I could see the Georgia people trying to snag a few headlines and clips, and it reminds me of the last year's what we know now is bogus. What was it, 7-5, or somebody planning play up that storyline? And
Nolan Smith played that up all year in the 7-5. That's right.
It's an interesting week to watch just social media and things like that. But tell me this: so as a Georgia guy, and as a fan for life, you kind of, everybody has, I think, their own rivalries that they the other fan bases that they just cannot handle, like that. It just makes them see red. And I feel like Alabama, even though we've had these recent just battles with them for the kind of the top spot, obviously Georgia has had recent success, but I mean Alabama's obviously have been on the run that they've been on for over the last decade or more.
Right.
But how do you characterize the the flavor of this what I won't call it a rivalry, because I don't particularly think it is a rivalry traditionally, but like how do you guys characterize these two fan bases? Is it a friendly game, or is it because we're both at the top, or is it dirty? Like we just came through Georgia Tech, and every year I remember how much you hate Tech, because you get to Tech week and you it brings back those emotions and kind of that localized kind of like hate match kind of thing. Florida's, obviously Florida, but sometimes I have a hard time with, like, how do you characterize the Alabama-Georgia matchup? From a fan base perspective.
Yeah, I don't think it's dirty. I think Auburn's dirty.
Mhm.
I think Tennessee's dirty. I think
Tennessee's
Florida's dirty. I don't even look at Tech as being dirty.
Right.
I think Georgia fans hate every Georgia fan hates either Auburn, Tennessee, or Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Some
Tech.
I hate all three of them. I hope
You
they
can
all
put Tech
die.
in there too.
I mean, I hate probably. I like to make fun of Auburn.
Mhm.
Auburn's more fun to make fun of. I hate Tennessee.
Yes.
I think they're fucking hillbillies. I really do. I hate Tennessee. Florida, I don't really hate right now. And people can't believe that because I'm from Waycross. I'm in South Georgia, but I don't hate Florida because when I was growing up, we beat Florida's ass.
Right.
Yeah.
I think. Let me tell you what's going to make them hate us, though, Chris.
Mhm.
If we win 48 hours from now,
Mhm.
that means the last two games we've played is beating them for the national championship and then beating them for the SEC championship.
Right.
When's the last time somebody has beaten Alabama twice? Oh, that's a good question. When's the last time someone has beaten Alabama twice in a row?
That's a
You
really
get
good
mad and hate people when they beat you.
Right.
And so I think they will hate us more if we win on Saturday compared to we lose to them. Sure, because if we win and have that 2 in a row against them again,
Right.
I don't know if anybody has beat Saban 2 times in a row that they played him. So it's like I think that could make because look, and Brett Beard today on my show, he's an Alabama reporter, and he thinks Bear Bryant's working at a gas station in Anniston, so he's sucks it up bad.
Yeah.
He was extremely defensive. He didn't want to hear my bull crap about the Dawgs.
Yeah.
He didn't want to hear nothing about it because he was defensive because that's how they are. And I want to tell you this, Alabama fans are and Alabama reporters are so bad. I pray to God I'm not like this, but I probably am. But all right, we played them in the national championship game in Kirby's second year, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the third year we lost to them in the SEC championship game, right? Is that right?
Yep.
All right. So the third year SEC championship game, I'm in Atlanta at the Georgia Dome before the game, like I'll be in 2 days. And I'm sitting around. Brett Beard was there, and there was a couple of people. I won't name who they were. It wasn't Brett and Brent. There were a couple of reporters who were sitting there knowing that I, as a Georgia reporter and a Georgia guy, at the table, and there was somebody else there. It wasn't Jeff Dantzler, but it was someone else. I'm like, God darn, I'm surprised he didn't get up and absolutely clock them. We're making their plane reservations during the pregame for the national championship.
Oh, wow.
Okay. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, these cocky cocksuckers.
Right.
I'm like, you got to be freaking kidding me. I'm sitting here before the game starts and you're making, but that's how they are.
Yeah.
That's how, and it's like, there was another reporter earlier this year who was on there saying, well, Alabama's got the best defense in the country. And I'm like, this is like midway through the year when Arkansas scored 20 points on them. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah.
So look, I think Georgia fans are a little bit different because, no question, we're cocky.
Mm-hmm.
But I think part of us is like, is this really happening?
Right.
Yeah.
Have we really won 29 freaking games in a row?
Yeah.
Are you freaking kidding me? Because it's not just 2 in a row championships and 29 games. It's like, this is a level that people thought we were going to go 50, that was possible. But still, now that it's here, it's like, oh my God.
Really?
Yeah.
Right.
So Bill touched on it a little bit, and I totally agree with what he's saying. And I'll describe the rivalry this way. Georgia, myself included, fans hate Alabama because of all the PTSD they have caused us, right? They have broken our hearts so many doggone times, okay? I was there in 2012. The confetti flying on the field. I didn't know what the hell happened. I looked at my wife. What the hell just happened? They won. We had to walk home. I've walked that walk of shame many times with Bama.
Yeah.
We hate them. And Bill touched on it a little bit. Alabama dismisses Georgia. Mm-hmm. They're just like, we didn't have Mechie and Williams. Y'all lucked up. It's coming this weekend. We'll show you guys. They're just totally dismissive of Georgia, and Bill's 100% right. That can all end this weekend if Andy's prediction comes true, and we beat their ass. And I think that's what's going to happen, right? And I think that's what's going to happen. But that's a great question, Chris. Absolutely great question.
It's just such a funny thing. And I think one of the things I think it stems from, honestly, is probably the affinity for Kirby from Nick Saban, because I think probably off the field, they probably have a good relationship. I don't know anything about it other than what they say.
They do.
But, you kind of have to borrow logic from it's one thing when you have head coaches that are at each other's throats, then it's way easier for the fan bases just go at it and, fights in the stands kind of thing. But anyway, it's funny to observe those things. I enjoy that part of it.
Well, that's what scares me about Tech in Florida right now, because I hated Dan Mullen. I hated Turkey Neck that coached for Tech. I hated them. I wanted to beat their ass. Napier, I'm okay with. And Brent Key, I think he's a good hire. I don't hate that guy. It makes it harder for me, I don't like that.
I'm the same way, Eddie. I feel like when I even though it's still Tech, but I'm like, man, Key is
I like the guy. I think
Napier probably has a long run in Florida but
next year's his last.
But he's not hateable like Mullen was. We just hated Mullen or Spurrier or whatever, I
totally agree.
But I had the feeling about Saban that I did for Spurrier all those years. Everybody would say, God, I can't stand Spurrier. He's such a prick and all this stuff. And I respected Spurrier so much because there was nothing we could do about it.
Right.
We were never going to beat him. We were never going to beat him. Ray Goff was never going to beat him. God bless him. Jim Donner was only going to beat him that one time. Rick couldn't beat him. I mean, it's like you were never going to beat him. And I always said that, well, if Georgia can't win, I'm going to root for Alabama because I never root for Auburn. I don't care if they're playing the freaking Dodgers.
New Mexico State.
I'm not going to root for the Auburn or Tennessee or Florida in anything.
No, wait, you rooted for him when it was 4th and 31 a little bit. Come on.
A little bit. Yeah. But I mean, I did, but until I saw two people on the line, I'm like, you dumbasses. But it's like, but I rooted for Alabama. Like when Alabama would play Clemson, holy shit. Yeah. I'm rooting for Alabama all day long,
Yeah.
Because I respected Nick Saban, but now it's like, and there's no question. I mean, we screwed up in 2012 when we didn't spike the ball.
Mm-hmm.
We got screwed with Tyler Simmons. There's no doubt about that.
Yep.
And it's like, I mean, 2 years ago in the SEC championship game, they whipped us. There's no question about it. But let us win Saturday, and you know what? Their hatred for us will take over, and then we'll turn around and hate them because we got to go to Tuscaloosa next year.
Yep.
So if they get their revenge next year in Tuscaloosa, guess who's going to return the hate back to them?
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Well, Bill, so you asked.
Like, well, we can't win in Tuscaloosa, and then it'll be on.
Yeah.
Yes. Matt Stafford would like a word.
Yeah, and no doubt.
Mikey Henderson in the left-hand corner.
Yeah.
Bill, you asked if a team had beat Nick Saban twice. LSU did it in 2010 and 2011.
Okay.
And so they beat them back-to-back. And Ole Miss was the most recent. They did it in 2014 and 2015. And that was with Hugh Freeze. Yeah.
Wow.
So, I was thinking when you said that, I was thinking Ole Miss. But, yeah. So that was they did it back-to-back. So, I think that's the only two times that has happened. So,
yeah,
a Nick Saban coach team. So,
yeah. But, the other thing is, I'm sorry, Andy, but the other thing is all those years that all these assistant coaches have lost to Saban, and they were like, ain't nobody ever going to beat Nick Saban. Y'all wasting your time. Ain't nobody going to beat Nick Saban. And then Kirby did for the national championship game is like, oh, Kirby beat him, and
it was Jimbo Fisher.
He wasn't the first. That's right.
Yeah,
Jimbo was the first.
Jimbo was
How about
the first.
Jimbo?
But when Kirby beat him, it was like
oh crap.
Yeah, because
even
Kirby was better than Jimbo.
They did, and they saw, and even I know they don't want to admit it, but they know in that national title game when Tyler Simmons was on sides, they knew that we were better. They knew we should have won that game. They won't admit it, they'll lie and say it, but they knew we should have won that game.
They won't admit it. It's like the Mechie and Williams thing. Our guy J-Rad on Twitter, and he gives Brett Beard hell.
Yeah, he does.
About Mechie and Williams. It's like everything, well, they would have done this if not for Mechie and Williams, whatever. I mean, you just think of something, and he'll throw that up to Brett Beard because that's all they talk about. And they still, if you got into a conversation with them and you really were serious and led them down that road, they would say, well, you know, it really wouldn't have happened a couple of years ago if not for Michie and Williams being
right.
Yeah. J-Rad would be like, I went to the grocery store to get some bread, but it was out, and it was because Michie and Williams wasn't
exactly.
there. He just it's great how he does stuff like that.
Yeah, but it's like, come on, man, give us a little bit of love here, you know?
They don't want to because they see what is happening. And if Georgia, and which I think they're going to, wins 3 in a row, and it's really the first team. You can talk about Minnesota all you want, but that was in the 40s. When Georgia wins 3 in a row, they are going to melt down in Tuscaloosa. They will be.
Well, they're already mad because Bama has not done what we did. I mean, Bama won back-to-back, but that was not during the playoff era. That was not during the 14. We did it in the playoff era, and that's harder than what they've done. Sorry, it is.
If Kirby Smart wins 3 in a row, they will lose their minds. They will go nuts. So it's going to be epic too when it happens. I can't wait.
I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
Well, guys, we got like 3 or 4 minutes. Bill, I want to get your take on and CT, stay if you got time to stay. I want to get your take on the Braves. I know that we haven't heard anything yet about a trade, but there's a lot of talk about Dylan Cease potentially coming over because currently right now the starting rotation is Max Fried, Spencer Strider, Charlie Morton, Bryce Elder, and then it could be Lopez or it could be Smith-Shawver. So
Lopez, yeah.
Yeah, so he's he might be a bullpen guy. They haven't, they said they're going to try him.
But they got him for both, right, Bill? I mean, he's there for both, right? And he's more reliable than what we've had in the past.
So, Bill, who all would you trade for Dylan Cease? What, like, if you were making the trade and if they said, okay, we want AJ Smith-Shawver, we want Vaughn Grissom, and maybe 2 other prospects, do you do it?
Where do I sign?
There you go. That's all I needed to know. So.
Hurston Waldrop too?
No, I wouldn't do Hurston Waldrop. I would do AJ Smith-Shawver. I would do him in a heartbeat, and because they do have Hurston Waldrop,
right?
So I would say, we'll give you AJ Smith-Shawver.
So if they ask for both of those pitchers, you're out.
No, I'm out.
Okay,
I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Vaughn Grissom. I'm going to give Vaughn Grissom to them. That's someone they can plug and play right now and be a starter on their team. I'm going to give them Bryce Elder, and I'm going to give them Dylan Dodd. They may not want Dylan Dodd, but I'm going to give them someone like that.
Right.
I would think AJ Smith-Shawver is a big time prospect, so that's a really good prospect to put at the top of the package. Vaughn Grissom, I think, should have very good value, even though he's a little bit older. And yes, there's questions about his defense, but I think there's still value there because of what he can do offensively for a team that's going to be second division right off the bat. Bryce Elder was an all-star last year. I think you got to have that to be part of it as well. So yeah, I would definitely have a package ready. And look, they're talking to Chicago. I know this. Everybody knows this. Dylan Cease is a very attractive piece for them. He's from the Atlanta area. And look, even if I didn't know they had talked to him, of course they talked to him. He has 3 straight years of 30 or more starts, 32, 32, 33. He has 3 straight years of 200 strikeouts.
Mm-hmm.
Alex Anthopoulos loves strikeouts per 9 innings. His number is right there with Spencer. And in the top 10 of strikeout per 9 inning with starting pitchers, I'm pretty sure that Strider, Morton, and Cease are all in the top 10.
Yeah.
So they're going to want that type of pitcher. And so, yeah, I think they want him. But the problem is, like with all these pitchers, the competition is unbelievable.
Yeah, everybody.
These teams that have Dylan Cease or someone like that, or if you are a free agent, you got so many people that are interested in you that it's just jacking the price up. I'm sure Alex Anthopoulos is probably pissed that he doesn't have something done by now besides Reynaldo Lopez, because he usually gets things done pretty quickly. So, sure, they ought to be a very good candidate for this. I think they can put together a big package. I don't, if they were to demand Hurston, Waldrop, and AJ. I just don't think he's going to do that. But I don't know. I mean, look, he doesn't just want a starter. He wants a playoff
He wants
starter.
an
Yeah.
ace. He wants
There's
an
a
ace.
difference. You know,
Yep.
there's a difference. He wants someone that you know that if they're healthy, they're there.
Well,
Spencer Strider.
Go ahead, Andy.
Spencer Strider led the league last year with 281 strikeouts, and then you have Dylan Cease was 8th in the league with 214, and Charlie Morton was 26th in the league with 183.
What's
So if
the
you have-
look at the strikeout per 9 inning ratio and see who the top? Can you flip on that and
Yep.
see?
Ks per 9 inning is Spencer
think-
Strider with 13.5. Dylan Cease is 6th with 10.9, and Charlie Morton is 9th with 10.1. So
So all
Three
three
in
of
the-
them would be 10. Yeah,
3 in the top
Yeah.
10, and total strikeouts 3 in the top 26.
pretty good.
That's phenomenal. Well, here's what, and this is a Christmas phrase, warms the cockles when I heard about this today, Bill. If this is true,
That's
if
too much
this is-
information for me.
okay, you take that for what it is.
Kelly does to your cockles is your story. Okay,
That's not what that means. You can look it up, Mr. Journalist. That's not what that means. But anyway, they offered Bill Aaron Nola. Was it 6 years or 5 years? I can't remember. Was it six? 27 or 25?
27.
27.
I mean,
Yeah.
That to me warms the cockles. Okay, because the Braves and Alex don't do that, and they did it. They put it out there. Yeah. Now that really made me excited to hear that they did that, and you signed Dylan Cease. That's nothing compared to what they just tried to do, right?
It would. Okay, so even if that amount is not true, we know that they were. Look, I think I said this on David's show today.
Yeah, he's right. 627.
The Phillies players. I don't know who, but some Phillies players called Aaron Nola when they thought he was going to Atlanta and told him to come back.
Yeah.
Philadelphia's 7th year added to that contract was because they thought he was getting ready to go to Atlanta. So even if we don't know that amount, we know that it had to be close to what the Phillies actually gave him from an average annual. So even if it was 25,
Yeah.
right? That's $25 million. So Dylan Cease is projected to make $8.8 million next year in arbitration. Now, even if it's 10, okay, that may mean that Atlanta has 15 more million to play with. Do they get a left fielder? Do they get another relief pitcher? Hell, do they go get Michael Wacha as their 5th starter?
Yeah.
Do that.
Yeah.
You know, and then put Reynaldo in the bullpen. Who cares? But so yeah, that's another reason why Cease makes so much sense.
Mhm.
Is because, and look, I'm sure when he gets here, Alex will call Boris and they'll have a discussion about whether or not they want a long-term contract. And Boris may say no, forget about it. And Cease may say bullshit. Let me have a conversation with these guys. I'm 30 minutes from home, and
Yeah.
I'm not like Freddie and Dansby. But the bottom line is for this year, my gosh, it's a perfect fit. And that's why I can't find anybody else that's even close to the more perfect fit than Dylan Cease. Not the free agent market. I mean, I'm not going to say, and I know Andy from Chicago on here, he and I've talked about, Michael Wacha and a couple of guys that aren't bad, but man, go watch the YouTube video of Dylan Cease and you'll get a baseball Woody.
It'll warm your cockles.
There you go.
Yeah, it'll warm my cockles. Because that fastball, he's got a fastball, he's got a slider that is a nasty pitch, and he's even got a curveball too.
Yeah.
But I mean, I went the other night and watched that video. I'm like, holy crap.
Yeah.
You got Spencer and Max. I mean, that would be the best rotation in baseball day one. Regardless of who the 5th starter is, Reynaldo or anybody else, that's a hell of a rotation.
And the bullpen is going to be the best too. Like they're going to be that.
All right, one more question on this. I got to know this, Bill. So let's just say AJ Smith-Shawver and Vaughn Grissom and Bryce Elder are gone, and we pick up Dylan Cease. Okay, what are we doing in left field? What do you want to see happen in left field, or is it shortstop?
No, I would keep Orlando's too good of a
defender.
Well, he's that, but he's also too good of a bargain to not mess with him right
now.
Until it becomes a real problem offensively, I think you go with Orlando for now.
Yeah.
The lineup allows you to kind of play with a defensive, more minded player than Orlando. I think you look around. I mean, I haven't, I don't know if
you don't have anybody on your radar list.
No, I mean, not really. I mean, I would love Soler.
Yeah.
I would love Soler. and
You know, the one I keep going back to is Tommy Pham. I like Tommy Pham. He just murders the Braves. I think he's a vet. I think he's one of those weird guys you kind of need in the clubhouse. That's just me.
well, I wouldn't be opposed to that. That wouldn't be. I mean, he's got what 15 teams after him. He said the other day in some podcast.
Is that right? Is that right?
Yeah. So I mean, God knows what he's going to be paid.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd rather have someone like Soler that I know about. Who, my God, can you imagine Soler in that lineup? Holy crap! You know,
right.
that would be unbelievable. And I don't think he was that bad in the field when he played out there for us.
No, he was fine. He was fine.
Pretty good. So. I mean, I think you just got to go find somebody. I don't know.
So it doesn't worry. It doesn't worry you then if you lose Vaughn.
Really,
okay,
not really. I mean, I like Vaughn, and I wouldn't mind him being in left field, but I think he's trade bait for me. I'm telling you, if they got a pitcher like Dylan Cease, I like AJ Smith-Shawver's potential. Don't think that I don't, but he's 21.
Yeah,
and we're talking about a 28-year-old guy who again has 3 straight years of 30 or more starts and 200 or more strikeouts.
And he had a 2.20 ERA last year, and he finished second in Cy Young.
Yeah, oh my gosh, Andy. So it's like that's an unbelievable arm to acquire, and I just, you know, I would love it, and I think it would be but if you were able to get also value for Bryce Elder, look, I mean, God bless Bryce, he was all-star and everything. You know, Bryce Elder, no, not for a championship team. There's no way he would have been sniffing the rotation in the playoffs if not for what happened to Charlie Morton. No way.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's like they need to take advantage of his value and get him out of there.
Well, you think about it. If they make that deal and they get to the playoffs and you're starting Spencer Strider, then you start Max Fried, then you start Dylan Cease. And then that gives you flexibility with Charlie Morton if you needed him to be a long guy in the bullpen, or because they're short series, you only need 3 starters. So that'd be as good as anybody in the league. It'd be
And that's been our bugaboo 2 years in a row, is that 3 of 5, right?
Yep. That 3 and 5's killing us.
Right. It'd be unbelievable.
Well, guys, we've been going at this for about an hour and 10 minutes. So
let's just skip the Falcons. They won. We're in first place. Hey, Super Bowl, here we come.
They beat the Saints.
Come on. Well, that's all we need to know.
I'll tell you what.
We appreciate you getting on here with us.
I appreciate you guys having me. It was fun.
Thank you, Chris.
Hey,
I'll
Chris,
tune in each week.
Now, you know what? Can I bring someone in to the podcast real quick?
Yeah, if you got, we can give them the link.
Would y'all? I'm gonna send the link. Hold on.
Yeah, send that to them. Sounds
I got
good.
somebody angling to come in for just a minute that wants to
get them on here.
See you, Chris. Thank you.
Hey, man.
Appreciate it.
Let me see. Let me see if I can get it to him. Let's see if he'll come in and say hello, because he's really angling to. And in the meantime, we can make fun of the Falcons who are going to get beat by the Jets. That'll happen.
I don't know. They were just the better of the bad last week, I guess. I don't know. They both suck.
Neither team struck me as like wanting to win that football game. That's the way it was. It was just kind of like out there. Whatever. I mean, we beat the Saints. I mean, I'm not going to bitch about beating the Saints. I hate them. I hate them. I hate them. So we beat them. Screw them. I loved it.
Absolutely. I can't stand them, and I hate them. I can't stand the Saints, and I'm glad they beat them. But our coach is still a douchebag.
He is 100%. Well, I'll just, not to get in the weeds too much, but Bill, this was classic Arthur Smith to me. There at the end of the first half, we're going in to try to score, and Cordarrelle Patterson has gotten the ball 2, maybe 3 times in a row, and he is mauling the Saints. I mean, and he's coming up, and you know how he runs. He runs angry, like you said, Kendall Milton does. Yeah. And he's just mauling them. And he's getting up and going crazy. And the next play, he pulls him out of the game and tells Dez to throw a pick. That's basically what he did. You're out. You're hot. Sit on the bench. Dez, you throw it across the middle. Pick. And that ended the half. It was ridiculous. Let Cordarrelle run the ball till he can't run anymore.
Well, Eddie, I'm about to make you really upset, so I'm going to give you some stats. I'm going to say 18 rushes for 107 yards, and that is an average of 5.94 per touch, okay? Then Then you have 16 rushes for 91 yards. That is an average of 5.7 per touch. So the first number I gave you was Tyler Algier and Cordero Patterson. And again, not knocking Bijan Robinson. We did not need him. Right. It was, I don't know. It just makes you so angry when you have Tyler Algier, who was great, when you have Cordero Patterson.
And you got Jalen Carter standing there, and how much better would this defense be if we had Jalen Carter and Grady Jarrett's hurt, by the way, right? And it's ridiculous. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, it's I mean, but like I said, and then Desmond Ridder, I was listening to Bill's show, and again, for the viewers out there, if you are not listening to the Bill Shanks show every day from 3 to 7 on the superstations.com, shame on you. If you want up-to-date Braves, Dawgs, and Falcons news, listen to the man. I mean, like
we'll be doing predictions tomorrow. We'll have Anthony Dasher of UGAsports.com.
Great.
We'll have Jonathan Lifefight talk about his Yellow Jackets. We'll have D. Orlando Ledbetter talk about.
D. Led's the best. He's the best.
Y'all need
He's
to
the
get him
best
on your podcast. I don't know if he'll be able to do it on a Sunday night, but
that's a good idea.
Could he join us on Thursday nights?
We ought to ask him. He'd be.
Well,
funny.
you ask him. You know him. Ask him.
Yeah,
I would love to have D. Led on.
Oh, he would be great because
I love him.
I could sit here and make fun of Arthur Smith and he would blush, which is fun. No, we have great guests, but we'll be taking predictions tomorrow. Y'all can give us predictions right now if anybody's in there and wants to give us a prediction that's still watching.
Yeah, if you're watching.
I know. I think Andy didn't Andy give us a prediction?
Yeah, he did. 41-27.
Well, I said 41-27. Andy Adams.
No, I thought it was about Andy from Chicago. Andy.
Oh, I'm sorry. No,
that's fine. Yeah, I know Andy. Andy, I was thinking a little bit about 38-23.
Oh yeah,
that's kind of
like that
popping up in my head, like a 2 touchdown type thing.
All right, here we go. We got somebody in the waiting room. We got a guest that's going to come on with us.
Gentlemen.
Oh my gosh, Dodger breath.
The devil, Ken from Cumming, is on with us.
AKA the devil.
AKA the devil. Is that what Eddie's called you?
Oh, no, yeah. I've never called you that.
Well.
We called you Dodger breath, but never the devil.
Yeah, Dodger breath. Hey, how's Ohtani doing so far? Is he in left field?
Hey, you know what? I think the Braves should go after Soto.
Instead, yeah, that'd be fine.
That was a rumor that people kept talking about, but I don't know. I don't know if they're going to do that.
Well, I'll say this real quick, Ken.
Yes.
From a Liberty Media perspective, who's the other team that's traded public? Is it just the Blue Jays and us? Is that right, Bill? Okay.
No, Boston. Is it Boston?
I think it's just the Blue Jays at this point. Anyway, regardless, you take your company and you make billions with Ohtani. You don't make billions with Juan Soto, period.
That's a good point, Eddie.
Because of Japan.
Well, if you guys take Ohtani, then we're going to take Soto.
Fine. I'm fine with that.
Padres aren't trading you Soto.
Why not?
They're not trading Soto to the Dodgers because that's your rival. It's like they're not going to trade us, Bryce Harper from the Phillies.
Right.
I think the Padres are in significant financial stress.
Sure they are.
Anybody.
Yeah. Well, I agree. Oh, we didn't call you on to talk about your shitty baseball team.
I agree. I mean,
that's not here to give us we want your thoughts, or I want your thoughts. Eddie doesn't really like you, and Andy thinks you're weird.
Yeah.
We want you to talk and give us your thoughts about the Dawgs. Ken, come on, let's hear it. You're excited. Now, earlier this week, you were ready to jump.
You know what? I've thought a lot about this, and I think Eddie will back me up. You know what? You said it today on your show. If it was anybody's jersey other than Bama walking into Mercedes-Benz, I would be like, kiss my ass. But it's Bama. And it's just it's you know what? Give them credit, man. I mean, they have a brand.
Yeah.
And you know what? They've not beaten us in that building. Excuse me. We've not beaten them.
Not been them. Yeah.
We've got to.
Yeah.
It's time.
I said it today on your show. I didn't get a chance to elaborate. I'm telling you, we got a field goal kicker that hits goalpost on the sideline.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah,
That
that's the
hook.
craziest video I've ever seen. That's insane.
I think our special teams they are so even. I think it's going to come down to special teams. I think Peyton Woodring hits the game-winning field goal. I do.
Or you think it's going to be that close? Yeah, so I don't think it's going to be close. I don't think it's going to be close.
I hope you're right.
I think we blow them out. I think we beat them 41-27.
So you're going to call tomorrow and say, what, 31-28?
No, yeah, probably something like 31, 34, something like that. Hey, did you know what? I was looking at a graphic earlier today. Did you guys know something? Georgia Tech scored the most points on us in a game this year.
Yeah.
Yep.
That sucks.
Yeah. Well, you know what? We got out of it healthy, and we rested 4 people. So who cares?
Yeah.
And we played 2 high safeties all game. We didn't have somebody in the box spying on Haynes King. And Haynes King can play the read option. Jalen Milroe can't. There you go.
Basically, their offense right now is the spread is basically what they used to run, but now they run it out of kind of like a beer.
Yeah, that's right. That's true.
I mean, and it's frustrating. At least they don't block down on knees anymore.
Yeah.
But,
Again, we're going to kill him.
I hope so.
Well,
Chris makes a good point here.
If it was a different uniform, would you be worried?
Yeah.
No.
No. Yeah.
We're going to dominate them.
All right, but so Ken, he's sipping on water. Ken, you got your Jimmy the Greek board behind you.
I love it.
How many X's, how many checks are for Alabama? How many checks are for Georgia? Let's go through them. Quarterback. Draw.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll say draw. I'll be because of his importance to Alabama. I'll say draw. Running backs.
Georgia.
Tight ends.
Georgia.
Wide receivers.
Who?
Oh, come on.
Easy. Georgia, easy.
Well, it depends if Ladd McConkey plays.
Please. Jermaine Burton is all they have, and Isaiah Bond made a miracle catch. That's it.
It's okay.
Come on.
Georgia.
Offensive line.
Georgia.
Defensive line.
They're hurt, so Georgia.
Okay. I was going to give him that one, but anyway.
Yeah, I was going to say push maybe and Bama.
How about this? How about defensive tackles? Georgia
Bama.
for me.
Georgia defensive tackles, defensive end, Bama.
Yeah, I'll say
Yeah.
the edge, you got to give them to Bama.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll say defensive tackles, Georgia. Linebackers.
Georgia.
Cornerbacks.
Georgia.
Safeties.
Georgia.
Caleb
Downs may be the best player in the country next
Yeah, I'd
year.
give that to Bama, but that's okay.
Hey, safety and
Javon Bullard.
And cornerbacks are close.
Yeah.
Kool-Aid McKinstry.
It's close.
but again, Tyke makes it a little bit tricky for me when it
Yeah.
comes to those. I mean, damn,
He does.
Tyke's he's playing out of his mind right now. No, you're right. I mean that's true, but you still is like, all right, how many categories does Georgia lead over Alabama? Andy, did you keep count? I mean, I think
We had a couple of
You're-
pushes, so it was basically like 7-2 is
Yeah,
pretty much
yeah.
kind of where we're at. So.
now Alabama may say, if it was just 4 people talking about Alabama, they may say 7-2 Alabama's favor. I get that,
You
but
didn't say
still,
special
it's
teams.
like I feel good about things. I do.
Field goal kicker is even.
Yeah.
They'll go.
Their field goal kicker's good. He's
Yeah.
a
we got
stud.
better. We have a better
Oh, yeah.
punter. But yeah,
Yeah, I think we have got a better punter.
Is
I
there
think.
going to be a special teams? Is Nick or Kirby gonna do something stupid?
God, I hope
Like
not.
do a fake field goal, onside kick? Is that gonna
No,
No.
don't
No.
even get Justin Fields near the building.
No.
No way. No
I will
way.
say this. This is the one thing that scares me just a hair, and he's been pretty good overall. But Muse gives me a little pause. He makes me nervous at times.
Really?
He made a couple against Tech that I was like, ugh. He shouldn't have fielded that. He should have let that bounce. I don't know. I just
he is.
and I think cool.
Breaking one.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I'm talking about, but Kool-Aid McKinstry, if he's there, I think he fields their punts. He's solid. I mean, he doesn't let anything. He's very good there, and just a little bit there on Muse.
All right, let's talk about what Phyllis was talking about there. OL versus the defense.
OL versus OL is
Alabama.
meaningless. Yeah.
So it's like, all right, their defensive line versus Georgia's offensive line.
That's where I'm I'm glad you brought this up. I personally think Ernest Green is going to take what's his face?
Dallas Turner. Yeah.
And it's going to make him his bitch tomorrow on Saturday. And I think Amarius Mims says, okay, come over here and get you some of my black ass because he's going to kick his ass too. I don't think Dallas Turner touches Carson Beck.
That's the one thing. Yeah, so that's the one thing Kirby does, and that's what you have to key in on Alabama. It's Dallas Turner. We're going to key in on that guy and take him away. So what else are you going to do? Right?
Remember what they did to Anderson?
Yeah. And neutralized him. Completely neutralized him.
And the Falcons still didn't draft Sawyer, and who came in? Broderick Jones.
Yep.
I think our offensive line wins the game on Saturday. Bill, you had a guest on today. Brent was on, and then you talked to a couple of guys. You talked to Chip, and you never really got into the offensive line. I think our offensive line shows up on Saturday and basically lays a big old pear on the table and says, bring it.
Yeah.
I don't care how many guys you bring, we're going to protect Carson.
Yeah. I was, again, I don't know why. I've just always loved to go down before the games and watch the linemen, defense and offense. And, man, I was watching those offensive linemen last week, and I'm like, God almighty, I'm telling you, when Andrew Thomas and Isaiah Wilson came to Georgia in like 16, it was like, okay, that's what Mr. Smart was talking about when he was talking about LOS, right? He was on them right there, because them right there make Matt Stinchcomb look like, Charlie Chris, which the three of us will know who that is. But anyway, monsters. You look at another name, Marius Mims, and I'm looking at him like, God almighty knows.
He's a tree.
And Amarius Mims' high school coach told me before his junior season that Kirby had told Sam Pittman that if he doesn't get Amarius Mims to Athens, he was going to fire him. Now I know why, because that man's a tree, like you said. And it's like, look at Tate Ratledge, look at Cedric Van Pran, just and look at Monroe Freeling. Look at
Micah Morris.
Micah Morris. Yeah.
Every one of them. Every one of them.
They're massive.
Morris is 6'5". He's 345 pounds, and he looks literally like a block. He's a block.
Absolutely.
And he does not get moved.
When I saw Tate Ratledge today, he was with Amarius Mims and a couple other players. Amarius Mims is a freaking wall. The biggest guy I've ever seen in person is Jordan Davis. That guy is as big as my wall. No lie. He is massive. But this offensive line, they're just massive. Tate Ratledge is a huge guy, and Amarius Mims is taller. It's just crazy.
But you know what, today, Ken, when Chris Hefner was on there, and he was talking about their game last week, and he said, look how many yards we ran against Alabama. And we're talking about Auburn. We're talking about Auburn's offensive line. We're talking about Auburn's running backs. We're talking about Jarquez Hunter, who was like MIA for some of the games. Auburn ran for 244 yards against Alabama. And come on now, that's so if Auburn can't we?
Yeah. And
I can tell you, if we run for 200 yards against Alabama, they ain't beating us. They're not going to beat us. It ain't going to happen.
Yep.
And so it's like, I'll take my chances of that. That's 5.8 yards per rush on Alabama. When the hell is that last time that's ever happened?
Who are going to be the running backs on Saturday between Edwards and Milton? Who's going to be the third back? Dylan Bell? Do you think
Dylan Bell?
So we won't see anybody else?
I think we will. Yeah.
Who do you think would see?
Yeah.
Are they going to bring in Andrew Paul, which I really like the guy, but you don't want him in there. He don't have much experience.
It's going to be garbage time. It's going to be Roderick Robinson and Andrew Paul. There you go. Right.
I think Dylan Bell's your third, because I think they're going to try
probably
to do,
right. Yeah.
I think they're wanting to do a lot of passes out of the backfield. I really think that Dejon Edwards can get a lot of
catches. And Dylan Bell gives you that. He now gives you that new weapon. Hey, you got to watch out. He might throw the football. You don't know what he's going to do, or you don't know.
I told
Yeah.
Bill today, Dylan Bell is the next Lad McConkey. I mean, he really is.
He's
Yeah.
better than Lad McConkey.
And
He's
he
more
played in
talented.
essentially a 1A private school in Georgia.
That's
And
insane.
we
He's
went
a
over,
beast.
said, "Oh, you need to come to Georgia." Does Justice Haynes carry the ball on Saturday?
Oh yeah,
He'll get at least one
he's gonna
touchdown.
have to.
Yeah.
But I'm not worried about it. I mean, I'm really not. I mean,
Boy, that's kind of an interesting dynamic, though. From a standpoint of, right?
I don't know. I'm
just playing devil's advocate here. I'm here to just mess with your head, Bill Shanks.
I'm trying to think of something that will worry me. It's like Milroe, okay, and like Eddie said it now, even though Eddie's circling around, it is like there's no way
his internet bill.
He said his laptop died on him.
Oh wow, plug it in is good. But you know what? It's like Milroe is going to get his run, right? Like Eddie said it earlier. He's going to get a run. It's going to be like, oh, wow, Milroe just got a 25, 30-yard run. But don't panic. Don't mean he's going to do it again and again and again. Because I don't believe that's going to happen. I really don't. And I keep on thinking about Tyke Smith. All right, let's see Tyke Smith run his ass down.
Yep.
Tyke Smith, man. Tyke Smith's been a beast here recently, hasn't he? I mean, I love what Tyke Smith's doing. I really do. I mean, yeah, Kirby's adjusted all year long. I just have supreme confidence in this team. I really do. I love what Kirby does. I love the persona of what Kirby's exuding from the sideline.
He doesn't panic. If something bad happens, he's okay. He keeps it calm. Yeah,
well, when you have 2 national championships, you don't have to worry as much anymore. Yeah. Seriously.
That's right.
He's confident in what they do as coaches and what the players can do as players.
Well, and I told Bill today, and I commented on this, and I think a team reflects their coach. Always has, always will.
Yep.
Look at the Atlanta Falcons. I mean, take that for what it's worth. And Georgia does not. We don't panic. I just wonder how much Will Muschamp is going to play into this. Do you guys think Will Muschamp actually has a lot? I think he does. I think Will Muschamp has kind of been the orchestrator of this whole defense the whole time, and I think Dan Lanning got a job off of Will Muschamp's back. I do. I really do.
Well, I think that I love Will Muschamp.
Oh my God, he's an awesome.
I mean, everybody's dog cussing is like, oh well, it's like I knew he was going to be the Georgia defense coordinator one day. You did. We all did. I mean, I think, again, I always say Chip Towers' first show I had Chip on right after Kirby got hired. I'm like, well, how long is it going to be before the band's back together? He knew exactly who I was talking about because of these 3. And I mean, I love Bobo. I love Will Muschamp. I think they are great coaches. Yeah. They may not be cut out to be great head coaches. I don't know. Maybe they get another shot. I don't know. I hope not because I want them to stay here for as long as Kirby's there.
They're not leaving Athens.
I don't think they want to go.
Why would they?
No,
they have more money in the bank than they can ever spend, and they're getting paid a ton of money in Athens as it is to not be the guy. They are one of the guys on the team. Yeah, I don't think they have any desire to leave.
I'm with you. And I love them. I mean, it's like, how can you beat that trio? How can you beat that trio of coaches at the top of your tree there with Kirby Smart, Mike Bobo, and Will Muschamp, 3 outstanding coaches who love red and black. Yep. So I love that. I love all about it. I think it's a great situation. I never could have dreamed this when I was like, Mark Richt's got to go. This is ridiculous. I mean, you thought, okay, let's be like Alabama, but I'm telling you, this is getting ready to be past Alabama.
Well, Bill, I remember you and Jeff Danzler would say all the time, dare to be great. And like that's JD he said that so many times. He was like, we have everything here. You just got to do it. Dare to be great. And look at what we're at now. It's, I mean, they are a play away from winning 3 national championships in Kirby's short time here. So it's as good. This is as good as it can get. This is everybody wants to talk about the golden age of whatever. This is the golden age of the Georgia Bulldogs. It is incredible. And like I said, I know I talk about me working there and getting to hear Kirby. I love it. It is the best TV show you can listen to because he is over there yelling and cussing nonstop. It is.
I don't know how you get your work done. How do you do it?
I don't tell my boss if he may be watching. Yeah.
we deserve this. We waited on this.
Yeah.
We knew. I mean, I said more specifically, Andy, not to correct you, but it's like the difference between good and great.
Yeah.
There is a difference. There is a difference between good and great. I don't give a shit about being good. How many teams are good in this country? A lot.
There's a ton. Yeah.
We're in Georgia, for crying out loud. And to sit there and say, well, Alabama's won and Clemson's won and Florida's won and Tennessee's won. Auburn, and we haven't. I mean, unbelievable. We had to get in this mode but this is exceeding my expectation. This is crazy.
Well, it was also the amount of the talents in the state that, the Squibber would always get like one or two, and then, he would never over recruit. Got Matthew Stafford. I'm not going to recruit anybody. And we get stuck with Grayson Lambert, right? And Kirby's out.
Fatone Bauta. Fatone Bauta down in Florida.
But you know what, Ken, is just as important with what Kirby's done with recruiting, because obviously he gets people from all over the country. It's a national recruiter, right? But he allows Georgia to be the benchmark for what he judges players and talent against. He can get a Dylan Bell from Texas. He can get a Brock Bowers from California and compare them to the people who he sees in the Georgia high schools and know how good they are. They're like, well, I may have this kid, in Charlton County who's pretty good, but I'm going to go, Brock Bowers looks like a freaking star. Well, he's going to go with a star. And I mean, it's just a perfect situation. It's so good. It's unbelievable.
I'm sorry. My battery died. It said I had 6 minutes left and it just went dead. I apologize. So I know Bill made fun of me. Whatever. I'm used to that. It's fine. It's fine. It's my fault. But
y'all have electricity in Ackworth?
Barely. There's a hamster outside.
Do you have electricity at Betty? Is more specific.
I have electricity at Betty. So thank you, Andy. But to watch what Saban to me is the greatest coach of all time in college football. He is right now. Okay, so right. But to watch what he's done, and then to watch what Kirby has done, and there's a chance at this point that he could surpass what the greatest of all time has done. To me, just blows my mind, because I watched Nick Saban for years. I was like, nobody's ever going to surpass what this guy's doing. No one. And Kirby's right there to do that. He's our guy. Yeah. But I mean, if he wins Saturday and wins another one, he's on the road. And as young as he is, my God. I mean, this is ridiculous. And he's our guy. Right. It's just unbelievable. I mean, Bill, like you said, I think you're right. Georgia fans like myself are kind of like, is this really happening? I'm like pinching myself. I mean, are we really doing this? Is this Georgia football that I watched for years and like, here we go, here's the loss, it keeps us out of whatever, and we just don't have to deal with that anymore. It's crazy.
Well, it was so bad someone on my show once created the term BFS. Oh, yeah, it was Eddie. Eddie from Ackworth created the term beaten fan syndrome, because we were beaten down. We had had the spike, not spiking the ball. We had the Tyler Simmons. We had years where I look back now and I think of the years I thought we were good, and I'm like embarrassed. This is what's good. This is what's unbeatable. This is what gets you to go into a game against Alabama and feel confidence like we do, compared to the crap shit teams we had back in the day. Which, are you kidding me? Well, no wonder we lost to UCF in the Liberty
2010. That was
Oh my God! And when I flipped my lid is when I got to spring training the next March, and I'm in Orlando and watching the Orlando news, and the UCF players were all excited about talking about how they whipped Georgia's ass in the whatever bowl, and I'm like, oh my God!
Yeah.
George O'Leary was the head coach of that team.
Oh my God! You're talking about my Georgia Bulldogs getting, and UCF is down there talking about. I mean,
yeah.
But it's all come back, and we got the perfect coach who loves this program. I mean, again, I say it: Kirby, Will, and Mike Bobo, three guys who if they were, a broadcaster and three rich guys like you. When they were on a podcast, they'd be just as passionate about Georgia football as we are.
Hey, can I say one quick thing about Fran Brown leaving? There's a guy in Reinhardt College named Greg Blue who's the defensive coordinator.
Ooh.
Just saying.
Been there for 12 years.
How
Yeah.
about that? Has he really?
Yeah.
Wow.
But there's a reason he's been there for 12 years. And I'm not saying that good or bad, but it's not like Kirby doesn't know where he's at.
Yeah. No doubt.
That's a good point.
No doubt.
That's a really good point. Yeah.
That some bitch could hit.
Oh,
Yeah, he
my
could.
God.
He could lay people
That-
out.
That was when you were allowed to lay people out.
That's right.
Him and Thomas Davis and Sean Jones. Good God,
Mhm.
those are some
Oh,
bad
they all
dudes.
go to jail now.
Oh,
yeah.
they would-
Oh,
they would
Odell
not be able
Thurman.
to play.
Yeah,
Odell
yeah.
Thurman.
Yeah,
they
you're
would
right.
put
That's a good
Odell
point.
Thurman
He's
under
suspended
jail.
consecutive games.
Under the jail for some of
Yes,
those hits.
under it. Oh yeah.
But no, yeah, Greg Blue has been there for 12 years, and I don't know why. I mean, there's a lot of schools around them. Do you guys have a feeling about a particular player, offense, defense, this weekend that just in the back of your little squirrely mind that you think is going to make a play that
Eddie
we
already
don't know
said
about?
his. Eddie said his number one, right, Eddie?
Yeah, number one's for me. Marcus.
Who?
Yeah, Marcus Rosemary Jack Saint. He's going to go crazy this weekend.
Okay.
God, I just keep on going back to Kendall.
It's hard to argue with
I
that.
think Kendall's going to have another 100-plus yard game, and I mean, to think that our number one running back has been reduced to the backup. I mean, he's not the primary back right now. Kendall Milton is.
You mean Dejon is? Dejon
I mean,
starts.
Dejon Edwards, but I mean,
Right.
to me, Kendall Milton's the primary back that has the last.
Do you think Kendall starts because of that fumble last weekend? Does that matter? Or does Kirby like, that's just
I don't
one
think it
off?
matters.
You don't
I
think it
think
matters?
Kendall's going to start and get the bulk of the carries because
You think
been so
Kendall's going to
good.
start? That was my question because Dejon
think
typically starts.
I think Kendall will take the first snap. I think.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I may be wrong, but he got the bulk of the carries last week. But I do think Dejon Edwards is going to make a play out of the backfield and catching the ball. I think he is going to get a swing pass and he's going to go a long way.
I love that
He may
guy.
get 2 or 3 out of 2.
He's just a workhorse.
Yeah, he is.
I mean, there's so many that it's hard to answer that question, Ken, because there are so many people that you want to pick. It's like you want to pick someone who hadn't done something, but heck, they've all done something.
Yeah.
I
mean, the low hanging fruit, Kamari Lassett or Javon Bullard. I mean, you got these low hanging fruit guys that are.
Who's yours, Ken?
I keep going back to a guy that Bill loves. It seems like he's been there. Just Jalen Walker, close, so damn close.
Yeah.
I mean, him and Damon Wilson have come in this year on third downs. You guys, I'm sure, have seen that probably since the Missouri game, and I mean, it's basically their package. They
Yeah.
come in on third down, like 3rd and 5 or more. Those two are coming in on defensive ends, and they're coming. And so I like Jalen Walker a lot. And we'll see. I don't know.
Good
It's
call.
just a feeling. I remember the game he made wasn't against TCU, or maybe it was TCU. He sacked what's-his-face. He abused the hell. Well, we abused him the whole game. So
Yeah, everybody abused him.
No,
Well,
there's so many to pick from. There, it's ridiculous of how many players that you could look at and say, "Man, what if he has a good game?" And I keep on going back to Tyke Smith about his ability to do something. But could it be Malachi? Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It could be
he
Malachi.
could get an interception. He's great on the interceptions.
I mean, yeah, he could do that in a heartbeat. Could it
This is
be,
a stupid question. Do we have a pick 6 this year? I should know that, but
I don't think so.
I don't think
so.
we do. I don't think we
have-
do.
No, I don't think we have a defensive touchdown.
Was the last one N'Kobe Dean? Was that the last pick 6?
I'm not sure.
It's a good question.
I'm not sure.
That would be nice, wouldn't it?
Chris asked, "What
Oh.
about Brock's production?" I think number one, if Brock's out there, he's producing.
Yeah.
He can block like a son of a gun, and he
opens up so much stuff for everybody else. That's the thing when he's on the field.
Yeah, I mean, I think if he's 5 or 6 passes, he's going to have 80 to 100 yards.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't think they're all going to be 8-yard catches. I think there's going to be some that's going to be like, here he goes.
And you know who's the guy we hadn't even talked about who's this close to breaking out is Arian Smith. He's
close.
been getting feeded a little bit here and there. He's going to have a massive play at some point in this run. He's going
Yeah,
to.
he maybe on a jet sweep or something. He might house
something,
one or something like
That
that.
may be your
Or
third running back. That might be your third running back. Let him have some jet sweeps and let him just take off, because that speed is pretty good. I mean, we saw it last week, right, when he kind of got in there because of those other three being out. But and I like Marcus Rosemy-Jacksaint. I think he's a great player. He's just a big kid. I like him. I mean, there's so many. I mean, I love this team. I do. It's just so fun to watch them, and so fun to see. All right, who's it going to be tonight? What do we make 10 players when we're going around the horn here?
Yeah.
10 players. I mean, it could be so many of them that could step up and do the job. There's no
Maybe it's the 5 offensive linemen.
that it could be. That's what maybe there's a big pancake block that breaks that springs into Milton.
That's my group, because I think if those guys, again, I circle back to them, if they do what Stacy Searles wants them to do, I mean, the game may be won from the jump.
Well,
maybe Jerry Dawkins comes down the center and sacks and Milrow. Maybe there's a big defensive tackle with a sack. There's all kinds of things that could be huge.
But you try to think too, all right, well, what could be our problem? It's like, okay, their offensive line's improved here recently. They've gotten better the last few games, but they've given up 39 sacks. We know what Milrow's going to have to do, but can our defensive line, who has been leaky at times, tighten up and get the job done?
Right.
I don't really have that much of a worry about that. I mean, again, I'm not saying they're not going to give up yards, but I just don't think they're going to be but they could be gashed by Georgia Tech. Doesn't mean they're going to be gashed by Alabama. It's a difference. Right. It's just a difference. And Ken had to go take a 10-100, better than a 10-200. But I don't like. What am I worried about? I don't know. What are y'all worried about? Anything per se? Worried?
Just Milrow scrambling around.
Just him break and contain, and you do everything right, and then he breaks off 40, and you're like, oh my god, that can get into defense.
Don't do it 3 times, right? Don't do it 4 times.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
If he does it in one drive to let them go down the field and score, okay, the next drive let them go 3 and out, right? Yeah. Stop their momentum by not letting them get out of control, because that's what we've not allowed any. We didn't let Tech get out of control. Don't give me a fucking break. We didn't let Tech get out of control the other day.
No.
That game was this close to being 38-13.
Yeah,
I mean, we had that was
that's damn refs. The refs were horrible.
Yeah. We were that close to blowing them out.
That's something we haven't talked about, Ken. You bring that up. The refs are going to come into play this Saturday. They are. It's Bama. Bama has yet to be called for a face mask in any playoff, that they don't get called for face mask. I don't know why, and that's going to happen. There are going to be some things we're going to be like, "What the hell are you looking at, refs?" Okay, and how do they overcome that? Because it's going to happen.
I think it's going to be a good day Saturday. I think the Dogs are going to go out there, and all the talk about, well, if they lose, who's got to lose for the Dogs to get in the Final Four? I don't think that's going to matter. I think come about 7:00 Saturday night, the Dogs are going to be letting the confetti come down.
Because I disagree with you, Bill. I'll call you on the show tomorrow. They're out if they lose. They're out. Georgia's out. They're out.
Maybe.
Yeah. There may be a way for them to get in, but
I've been thinking about something, because Hancock said on Tuesday night they've kind of changed their course about the best teams are getting in the playoffs, right? They said that the best.
That's what he said.
Right?
They did.
And before, it's always been deserving. And I read an article after your show, Bill, and I'm not taking credit for it. It was on Twitter, but basically the guy said, okay, if it comes down to Georgia and Florida State, he was like,
provided they win.
Yeah. So it's like you walk into the room with the committee members and say, Florida State versus Georgia right now, who you picking?
Yep.
No, I'm serious.
Every one of them is picking Georgia. Every one of them picks Georgia.
So, but will they?
But don't you say that about FSU and all the other teams that may be in the top 4?
Yeah.
I mean, okay. Let's show of hands. FSU versus Michigan, FSU versus Oregon or Washington, FSU versus Georgia. Ain't gonna be hand raised in there.
No.
Yeah.
So, and I don't care what they say. I don't think they want another bloodbath like they've had. I mean,
Well,
We'll see.
I go back and forth on it. It's something. I know I'm with you, but sometimes I'll say, "Ain't no way they're going to tell that Florida State team if they're 13 though they're not going to go." But then I think again, like you're saying, I mean,
But then
I keep on asking the question: how bad does Georgia have to lose to not still be considered on Saturday night as one of the best 4 teams in the country?
okay, stop
Exactly.
and think about this because this happened. Remember, Alabama backdoored into the playoffs in 2017.
Yeah,
Right? They didn't even play. They didn't even win the damn conference championship.
Hell, Ohio State did that last year.
TCU did it last year. They lost to Kansas State
right.
in there.
But
Yeah, but I'm saying Ohio State was sat at home. At least TCU played for something.
but they all came from 6. That's the difference, right? They came from 6
right.
up to 4 or 3. Nobody's ever come from 7 or 8 to 4.
So we're 1, and you're not going to put us in if we lose. That's what I'm saying.
I don't see it. I
Let's
think
just
we're out.
agree that the Dogs win it. They just have to win the game.
Yeah,
And
I think they leave no doubt. So I don't.
I think they exactly. Well, guys, we've been going at this for an hour and 45. You want to put a bow? Yeah. Why don't we put a bow on
Hey,
this?
get up and do it tomorrow, Bill.
Coming up next, the Today Show on NBC.
There you go.
We'll talk about
everyone-
pregnant people, right?
Look at this
Pregnant
fat
people, there
black
you go.
guy. What's his name? That's going
Who?
to show up.
The who?
I don't know. The weatherman. What the hell?
The weatherman, yeah,
Oh,
who lost
Al
all that weight. Al Roker, there you go.
Al
Oh,
Roker.
yeah.
Chris Taylor. Is Chris the only one watching?
Right now,
Well, we have it's Chris right now is the only. Well, no, we have more people than just Chris watching, but he's the
we
only
do.
one commenting.
Okay. God bless those of you who stood through us through an hour and 46 minutes. You, like the 4 of us, have no freaking life.
Hey, as long as you're watching Georgia football or the Braves, you have a great life. That's
Hey,
all
by
I
the
have.
way, Eddie,
right.
good luck to Marist this weekend.
yeah, they played, and I was gonna. Can you say that? I was gonna go tomorrow because I want to watch them play. 'Cause they're at home, but the weather forecast is awful. I mean, it's gonna be brutal rain, so I'm gonna watch it at home. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Man, if I can get back to Macon on Saturday night, whose house am I coming to? Ken's or Eddie's?
Well, I'll cook
Well,
for you. I
y'all
know
right out
Eddie
the
will.
box.
You can come cook. I'll come cook for you. Eddie will probably make you cook it. Whatever.
No, Eddie has a butler. He has a chef. He has all of those things. Yes, so don't
Yes,
worry.
I have a maid. I have all those things. Yes, that's exactly
You have
right.
a nanny.
Is her name?
Yeah,
Florence?
yes, her name is Florence. Yeah,
You have a maid named Florence, and you have a butler named French.
There you go.
Something.
yeah,
I thought it was Mr. Cabot.
yeah.
Same thing.
You're welcome
Yeah.
anytime, Bill Shanks. Anytime.
All right,
This
guys.
was
Thank
fun.
you.
I enjoyed it. So everyone that's listening, we appreciate it. Come back next week. Like I said, do us a favor if you can subscribe, and share it. Tell your friends. Like if you want to hear Bill cuss, you want to hear Ken, aka the Devil, come in here and make fun of Eddie.
Fucking Dodger. Fuck you.
That right there. That
wraps the show.
Make sure you listen to the Bill Shanks Show every weekdays from 3 to 7 because you will get the most up-to-date information about the Braves and the Dogs. So if you don't listen, well, you suck if you're not listening. So.
Yeah.
There you go.
Guys.
Andy just cursed. My God.
Oh
Hey,
my
I said
God.
suck.
Hey, you go,
All right.
I'll be blamed for it. I'll be.
That's
blamed.
right. Bill's fault. It is
Yeah.
Bill's fault.
Hey, y'all. Let's say this as we go. Go Dogs.
Go Dogs. Go Dogs.
See you guys.